What is going on, YouTube family? So back in the garage today, we gonna get started on putting these injectors in the Gt-R injectors and my flex fuel kit. Injectors ain't quite here yet, but they are in the mail. Arrival time is today, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get started, get everything prepped. So like I said in the last video, the intake manifold has to come off, so we might as well go ahead and get that prepped now. Get the intake manifold off, start doing everything for the flex fuel kit, running all the lines and stuff, and when the injectors get here we can just throw them on in. So I'm going to find some more light so you guys can see the process, and I'll get this thing apart. All right, got a little light set up in here. Of course, you know we gotta have the heat going. It's 30 degrees outside. So again, we back in the home garage. Like I said, we're gonna get these injectors put in and this flex fuel kit. The intake manifold has to come off, so a few things we got to remove first. Gotta take this cover off. We got to take the charge pipes off, both throttle bodies, and then we got to take the intake manifold off to be able to get to the injectors. Also going to be removing these fuel lines to install the flex fuel kit. So let's get started by removing these 4 Allens to get this engine cover off, and we also going to have to take off charge pipes and unplug the throttle bodies and all of that. So let's get this engine cover off, get started. Taking these 4 Allens off. It's 5mm. So we get these loose, just so we can take this cover off. Okay, now we have the engine cover off, and we're gonna take these charge pipes off, take them off at the couplers so we can get those out of the way on both sides. Then we have a few vacuum lines that we have to take off. Here, there's one down there, another one down there. Undo this clip that holds this harness on the back, and also this one. You have a plug here to remove another vacuum line here, and then the plugs on both throttle bodies. And then you have all of the 10mm in the middle of the intake manifold to remove them all. So let's take off the charge pipes first, and then we can start working on getting the intake manifold off. All right, got all the vacuum lines off, got the charge pipes out of the way, just kind of got them laying there. Now we gotta unhook the throttle bodies, get this harness off the back of the intake manifolds. Just a little pin right there. You'll pull this off. I'll pull this harness off the back of it also. Pull these tins out to get this off, and then pull all of the tins out of the middle of the intake manifold so we can get the intake manifold off. All right, let's get to it. Got all the bolts out of the intake manifold. So now that's that. Now we'll be able to get to the injectors and all of the fuel lines back there for the flex fuel kit. Let's get something and cover up that so we don't drop anything down in the motor. So we got that all taped off so we don't drop anything down in there. Now we're gonna have to start removing these fuel lines so we can get the flex fuel kit installed. We're gonna have to remove the fuel rails, obviously, because we're gonna be putting injectors in here and get the stock ones out. So let's get to this box. Look into directions. See what we gotta do. So in the T1 box, we have harness, we have a mount for the ethanol content reader, we have AN fittings that will adapt to the stock fuel lines, we have some bolts, you have a mount for the back of the fuel rail. We also have lines, and we have an analyzer here. So we have to go online to get the installation procedure. I already looked it up a little bit, so I know we got to take off the lines in the back of the motor. Those lines there is where these lines are going to go, along with these fittings right here. So let's get all that stuff swapped over and we'll be ready to throw the injectors in. Still waiting on the mailman. All right, here we go. So we're on the website. Scroll down to the bottom. It'll say installation instructions, and here you go. Here's all your installation instructions to do the flex fuel kit. Has pictures and everything. So read through this, get the installation done. Okay, so with this one, you have to remove all of these covers that go over here. Take the battery out so you can get to this secondary air box. It sits down in here beside the battery. Take that out so you can hook up your harness. It's all plug and play, no splicing, but you need to get that out. And to get this out, there is a little clip. There's a little clip. See the silver clip right there? That just slides on. You take a screwdriver, a flat tip screwdriver, and release the locking pin right there. This whole thing will slide right out. And undo the hose at the bottom. And here's the clip, the electrical connection that needs to tie in with this and this. Let me give you a little illustration. So that is what it's going to look like. Right there. So let's get that hooked up so we can hook that stuff, put this secondary air box back in its place. All right. So the flex fuel converter comes with double-sided tape on the back. Here's the factory plug. All you can do is take the double-sided tape off there, clean this real good with some alcohol, Stick that on there like that. Then this harness will plug into that, and the other side of the harness plugs into the car and this, just like factory. So I'm gonna get this wiped down with some alcohol so this can stick on there good, won't come off, and I can get all this put back. All right, got that secondary air box plugged back up. As you can see, there is the content sensor, and it's all plugged back into the factory harness, which I ran through there, and now comes out into the engine bay. So let's move on. All right, so we got this fuel line off. You see it goes back to here. So we're going to take a 10 millimeter, unbolt this, and in the kit provided there is an adapter with the O-rings and bolts and an AN fitting. We're going to use this line to go in place of all of that. So let's get that taken off so we can get this installed. So we got this line off. This is the factory line. Now, here is the adapter with the O-ring, new O-ring in it. Here's the bolts to go to it. We're gonna put this fitting in so we can hook this line up. So let's get this. I'm gonna go ahead and put the fitting in there now, and then I'll go ahead and bolt it up to the rail. So here's the factory line that I just took off. And not thinking, I took this off, but I could have just taken the whole rails and everything off, because again, like I said, since I'm in here, I'm going to go ahead and change the injectors. So instead of me trying to put this new fitting and everything on there that needs to be bolted back up to it, the new adapter, the AN line, and this line, I'm just going to go ahead and take the rails off because I got to put injectors in there anyway. So all we have is a few clips here to take the harness off, and then we have a few 12s that holds the rails in place, and then we can take the injectors out. Just go ahead and do that. All right, we got the rails off and we got the injectors out. So now we'll be able to fit this new adapter onto this side of the rail, and fittings and everything else. So let's get to it. Well, well, well. Look what showed up. Finally. Yesterday, when the tracking number said my package was going to be here yesterday, they didn't show up. So I was at a little point where I couldn't even go any further. But now the injectors just showed up. So let's go ahead and get these things installed. So we got some FIC 1200cc injectors. Yes, sir. Get these things put in. All right. Got all the injectors put in. Now let's put this rail back on. Start buttoning all the rest of this stuff up. Okay, got the rails and everything all back in. That's all bolted down. See, I done took my tape off. So I got the intake manifold here. About to get this thing mounted back up. Just making sure I'm going over the rest of the instructions for the flex fuel kit to make sure that I don't have to change anything else out with this intake manifold off. If not, we're gonna go ahead and get this thing put back on so we can get everything bolted up and test the fuel system for leaks and fire this thing up. All right, got the intake manifold bolted back on. Now we just gotta hook up all these vacuum lines, throttle bodies, and finish getting that flex fuel kit put on. So let's get to it. Alrighty, so intake manifolds all back on. All the lines, all the vacuum lines and everything is all back on. Now we have to mount the flex fuel kit, tap into these lines, and we'll be good to go to put all the rest of the stuff back. Got to put the battery back and all those panels and all that stuff. All right, so this flex fuel kit came with a little mounting plate that goes on the back of the intake manifold. Don't know. So originally, this harness was here. There's already a hole right there. Just gotta pick this piece of this harness, this zip tie out of here, and I can run a 10 down in there and be able to mount this bracket for the flex fuel sensor. So let me get that out of there, get this all mounted up. So I got the bracket and the flex fuel sensor mounted together. Now I'm just going to mount the bracket to the back of the intake manifold. They supplied the 10 and a spacer. So let me get this thing mounted up in the back. Got that hooked up and mounted. Now we just gotta put fittings on both ends and over here. All provided in the kit right here. So we get one on, slides on, and then the AN fitting just threads on to here. Do both sides like that of the flex fuel sensor, and then the other one goes on to the factory line right there. We got that all hooked up. Here's the one line that we put on the back of that rail. Flex fuel kit's hooked up there. You got this factory line right here. We took off the plastic piece. Now we just gotta put this adapter on for AN, then run the other line from there to the flex fuel kit, and we should be all done installing everything. Then just put the battery back and all the plastic panels that go across the front up there, and we should be good to go. So let me get this installed on here, and then get these lines on and all tightened up, get the battery in, and then we can check for leaks. Got that on there. Now what we do, this line up, pick it up here. The other side up over here. There we go. We got the lines all hooked up. Let's go ahead and put this plastic back on here. Goes on this side. Get all this done. Get over there on that side. Put the battery back in. Put the plastic in over there. Oh yeah, we on the road now. The home stretch is here. Yes, sir. Now that is it. Only thing I gotta do is put the cover back on, which is right here. And actually, cover actually covers up the flex fuel sensor, so you really don't even know it's there. But before I put that on, I'm gonna turn the ignition on, make sure that we don't have any fuel leaks, and then we are 100% good to go. So let me go ahead and do that now. Everything looks all good. Don't see no leaks. So now, all we gotta do, put a base map in here. We'll be able to drive. And then we can go get that thing tuned. So, guess I can go ahead and put this engine cover on. So, I can still be stealthy. You know? Let's get this back on. What you gotta do, tighten that up. And we are good to go. Yeah, so basically that's the flex fuel kit from T1, FIC 1200cc injectors. And now the car is full bolt on and able to run on E85. So all we got to do now is get a base map loaded in there. I'm going to call my guy, let him know that we are all good. He's going to send me a map. I'm going to be able to drive it to him. Then we're going to get it put on the dyno. So as always, like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell to let you know when I drop this new video and all the ones in the future. So, deuces.